Hello, hello. Welcome to day 4 of the Rhythm Challenged to Rhythm Talent workshops that we're doing here. I have a really important thing that I want to make you all aware of and just sort of remind you, and that's that you have to be doing this homework. I've said this a few times, but unfortunately, I haven't come up with a way to practice for you. Once the matrix is a thing, I'll be sure to upload my knowledge so you can just download it and know how it works. But that's not a thing yet. So what you need to be doing is doing the work, doing the homework, implementing it. If you're watching live, then that's great. Be here live, figure out what's going on today, but go back and watch any replays you missed to set up that foundation. If you're watching the replays and just going through the playlist, I know it's so tempting. It's just gonna auto play and play the next video. But if you haven't done the homework and taken some time to actually try those exercises out, I highly encourage you to do that. Because if you're not actually doing the work, then you're not actually going to be improving your rhythm. And the homework is so easy and fun, hopefully. It should take only like 5 or 10 minutes to do it. So do the homework and you'll actually get better. But today what we're talking about is how all of this rhythm fundamental stuff that we've been doing applies to real music. On day 1, we talked about how to actually count, which is sort of the first half of rhythm. Day 2, we really went deep with finding the steady beat, which is the other half of rhythm. And yesterday on day 3, we were starting to bring those things together so that we have the steady beat and the rhythm working together in the subdivisions exercise. Today, we're going to see how the subdivision exercise and that connection of the counting and the steady beat is all you need to be successful at rhythm. So let me pull up some music to demonstrate this just a little bit. And let me check my notes too and make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope, we're good to go. So let me pull up my screen and you should be able to see it on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, go watch on YouTube so you can see music examples because that'll be really helpful. So what we have here is a classic melody, Hot Cross Buns. I'm sure most of us have played Hot Cross Buns at some point and worked through it. So what I'm doing here is showing how it's related to the rhythm tree. And just real quick, I want to check my screen sharing. Okay, good. I'm always paranoid that it's not actually working, but it looks like we're in good shape. So Hot Cross Buns, you can see the music. We have sort of quarter, quarter, half, quarter, quarter, half, eighth, 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 quarter, quarter, half. And I think that's how most of us were taught to conceptualize this rhythm. But the problem with that is it's fine on simple stuff like this, but it gets pretty hard pretty quick as you move on to more advanced music. So the first thing I want to do is show how this is just a shifting around of the rhythm tree. If you've been doing your subdivision exercise where you can put on your steady beat, move to the steady beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. If you've been doing your homework from the previous days, then you already know how to move between these different subdivisions and work with the beat. So the way that Hot Cross Buns works, looking at the beat, is we end up doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. So you can see how it's almost exactly the same as what we were doing in the subdivision exercise. It's just the beat that we're shifting to is specified by the music. When we're shifting to that is specified by the music. But you can do the same thing where you can look at the counting of this and treat it just like you were doing in the subdivision exercise. Move to the beat. I like to conduct. You can do whatever movement you want. I like to do the traditional numbers counting system. You can do whatever counting system you want. But then we can conduct or move and keep track of this rhythm. So let's try that together real quick just to get some practice with that. So we move to our beat and we can do this with a metronome. Of course, I'll snap for now. So we're moving to the beat Now we're gonna count through and sing hot cross buns. And 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. And you can see by doing this, it's just like we were doing in the subdivision exercise. So again, if you were doing your homework from yesterday, then this should be a piece of cake. Now, this is a very simple melody. We're all really familiar with it. And you can absolutely get away with thinking quarter, quarter, half, quarter, quarter, half. The problem with that, though, is it's still missing the context of the steady beat. It's easy enough that you can be pretty steady with it and play pretty accurate rhythms. But when you add in the context of the steady beat, it actually makes it more musical as well. Where in 4/4, we sort of have a stronger emphasis on 1 and 3 in classical music. So we can feel that direction to it. 1, 2, 3, lead to here. Dum bum 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 dum bum 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 bum. So we have again that leading to 1 and 3. Land, lead, 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 land, lead, 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 land, lead, land. So there's direction to it and musicality to it. And I think that's one of the most important points of truly great rhythm is when you have that context of the steady beat and that connection to the steady beat, you can actually be aiming somewhere, leading forward somewhere, and playing in a musical way, even on something simple like hot cross buns here. Now, the other big benefit of having this context to the steady beat is when we go on to a little bit more complicated and advanced rhythms. So this rhythm is just the first measure plus 1 beat of the Rose 32 Etudes for Clarinet number 1. It's one of my favorite sort of introductory pieces because it exposes you to all kinds of different things. And it's a great one. Like if you can learn this and play it pretty well, then you're very solidly an intermediate clarinetist. But you can see here we have a dotted quarter note on the first beat, and then eighth notes going up, and then a half note on the next downbeat. So this isn't as straightforward as hot cross buns. So in hot cross buns, we were able to get away with quarter, quarter, half, thinking in terms of note values, how most of us were sort of taught to think of rhythm. But when it comes to something like this, we start on a dotted quarter. So dotted quarter, eighth, eighth, eighth. Like I don't know how long a dotted quarter note is. But with the true rhythm system that I'm sort of trying to get us all to be thinking about it relating to shifting the rhythm tree around, shifting around that subdivision exercise, we can see that the G is on beat 3, and these are beamed together 3 and 4 and we can also deduce that this is 1/8 note before 3, so that's the and of 2. So we can see here, we don't even need to know how long the dotted quarter note is. All we need to do is play the and of 2 leading to 3, so that we have that sort of pickup going to 3 and moving forward. That's the context to the steady beat. That's the relationship there that we need, that connection that's going to make all the difference in your rhythm playing. Another thing to sort of hopefully make this point clear is if you think about playing with your metronome, again, that's I think the litmus test. If you're comfortable playing with the metronome, then you probably have pretty good rhythm. If you're get off from the metronome, or the metronome's kind of annoying, or you feel like you have fine rhythm when you're not playing with the metronome, but the metronome throws it off, you probably don't have great rhythm. And by shifting the thinking here, it makes it so much easier to play with the metronome. Think about it this way. If I asked you to play a dotted quarter note or hold a note for dotted quarter note length against a quarter note beat, that gets very abstract. It's like a 3/8 notes versus 2/8 notes beat, and we have to start doing crazy math and polyrhythms and weird stuff to do that. If I asked you to play an eighth note on the and of 2 leading to the third click of the metronome, that's so much easier. Another way to think of this is we could actually try it. So the first way, thinking in note values, I'm going to get the steady beat going, and then I'm going to hold a dotted quarter note. E, D, D. I'm not even sure if that's right personally. I think I'm close. I'm in the ballpark, but it's like, was that exactly 1.5 beats, or was it 1 in 5/8 of a beat, or 1 in 3/8 of a beat, or 1 in 7/16 of a beat? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But what's really easy to do is and three. 1 and 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. That one, I'm very confident that I'm right on the money every time. And the reason why I know exactly where that and is because I've been practicing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and the subdivisions exercise, right? In the subdivision exercise, we learn how all the subdivisions fit into the beat. Now it's just a matter of looking at the music and seeing where the beats are and how the rhythm on the page uses those subdivisions to move around. So this one with the steady beat, 1 and 3 and 4 and 1, 1 and 3 and 4 and 1. It's simple now. Now that we know the context of the steady beat, it's much, much easier. It's no longer a mystery of how long is a dotted quarter. And again, this example is actually still pretty simple. It's still a pretty easy rhythm. Even more advanced rhythms will be even trickier to keep track of and make sure everything's good. So that's the sort of big takeaway that I want you all to be understanding today, is that we need to be thinking of the context of the beat. The way that the beat and the rhythms fit together is exactly the same as the subdivisions exercise we were doing yesterday. And when we can provide the context of the steady beat and how we're leading to and moving to the steady beat, then rhythm becomes easy. Everything starts to click. It's easy to play with the metronome. And again, this is the secret. This is why yesterday I said the subdivision exercise is the single best exercise that I think everybody should be doing every day to learn how the subdivisions fit in. And then it's just a matter of looking at the music and seeing how they lock together. So your homework for today is to look at some music, whatever music you're working on, whatever music you have, and I want you to figure this out, just like we did with Hot Cross Buns and just like we did with that first measure of the Rose Etude. Look through it, see how the note values relate to the counting and how the counting actually relates to the beat, so that you can always be leading your rhythms forward to the beat and finding the next beat. The other thing you can do, this is another like 2 option one where you can do just looking at your music and figuring out the relationship to the beat. Or you could also do this fun little exercise where we're going to look at the rhythm tree and actually come up with sort of rhythm and music just by sort of shifting around the rhythm tree. So let me pull up my screen again and show you how that might work. So you can just sort of pick a line and say, I'm going to do like 1/4 note and then 2/8 notes and then 4/16 notes and then 2/8 notes again, and then try that. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and a 4, and doing this with a metronome is a really good idea, so you can really be honest with yourself. I didn't get my metronome set up, so I'm pseudo steady beating, but hopefully it's close enough and you'll definitely get the idea. So that's one thing you can do. And then you can get more creative with it. I'm going to do 1 and 2 as quarter notes, and then I'm going to jump to 16th notes on the and of 2, and then I'm going to keep with 16th notes through 3, and then jump to an 8th note on the and of 3, and then to 4. So 1 and a 3 and 4, 1 and a 3 and 4. That one gets a little more complicated. Let me do it slower so that you can really get a good feel for that. 1 and a 3 and 4, 1 and a 3 and 4. So by doing that, you're getting good practice moving around. And again, as we're doing this, always be thinking about that context and that connection to the steady beat, where we have 1 and leads to 3, E and leads to 4. So every rhythm, ever, and we can always be thinking about leading forward to the next beat. And again, that's another big secret for playing with the metronome, is to be always leading forward to the next click of the metronome. There's that predictability to the metronome, so we can find whether it's 1 and a 3 and 4. We have that predictability where we're going. So that's the homework. You can do either one. Look at any music that you have and figure out how it connects to the beat. You can play with the rhythm tree and sort of shift around and change the subdivisions at different times, or you can do both. It's kind of fun. Both of those exercises are kind of neat. Shifting around the rhythm tree is sort of you composing your own rhythms and coming up with those relationships. And it's kind of easier to see the relationship to the beat. Looking at real music is obviously very applicable for looking at real music, which is the end goal for this, is to be able to play music really well. So that's your homework for today. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, even if you're watching the replay, of course, as always. And good luck implementing this one. The other thing I'll say too with the homework is yesterday's homework of doing the subdivision exercise every day still applies. Just try to do that every day. I promise it'll make a difference. Hopefully you can see today how we were sort of bringing everything together, that the power of that subdivision exercise. So good luck with your homework. Let me know if you have any questions. And tomorrow is going to be really fun. Tomorrow's where it gets really advanced. We're going to be looking at some more specific music examples where it's really crazy. Tied notes, complex triplets, dotted notes, all kinds of pizzazz, and just showing you how in all these different examples we can again be relating to the beat, connecting forward to the beat, to that predictable metronome click, so that everything feels good. So I hope that this has been enjoyable so far. We're definitely on the home stretch, so let me know if you have any rhythm questions, and I will see you tomorrow at noon Mountain Standard Time. Bye.